Today is Pentecost, which comes after our celebration of Easter and is certainly properly described as the birthday of the church. The fantastic happenings of the first Pentecost are recorded for us throughout the second chapter of Acts. The risen Lord had told the disciples to remain in Jerusalem to await the coming of the promised Spirit. And these are the words that we read. When the day of Pentecost came, they were all together in one place. Suddenly a sound like the blowing of a violent wind came from heaven and filled the whole house where they were sitting. They saw what seemed to be tongues of fire that separated and came to rest on each of them. All of them were filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other tongues as the Spirit enabled them. Now there were staying in Jerusalem God-fearing Jews from every nation under heaven. When they heard this sound, a crowd came together in bewilderment because each one heard their own language being spoken. Utterly amazed, they asked, "Aren't all these who are speaking Galileans? Then how is it that each of us hears them in our native language? Parthians, Medes and Elamites, residents of Mesopotamia, Judea and Cappadocia, Pontus and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia, Egypt and parts of Libya near Cyrene, visitors from Rome, both Jews and converts to Judaism, Cretans and Arabs, we hear them declaring the wonders of God in our own tongues." What an amazing event. There's no doubt that this is really such a critical time in the life of the Christian church. And it talks about reading on that in fact, people thought they were drunk. There was such an amazing sense of something happening amongst these disciples. People gathered from all over the known world because, of course, of the festivals that were going on. And Pentecost, of course, grew out of a Christian festival, grew out of the Jewish gathering together of people. The Holy Spirit descended on them like a mighty washing wind. Something amazing. Folks heard in their own language. It was a reversal, if you like, of the story in the Old Testament of the Tower of Babel, where there was the confusion of languages. Now the Holy Spirit comes upon the people of God, and people are not confused anymore. They hear in their own language that which is true about God. It reminds us that God's Holy Spirit calls people together, and in such a setting, he blesses us. You know, this is such an amazing passage from the New Testament. It's one, incidentally, you'd be very careful about reading in church if you were asked to read with all that list of places where people came from. What an amazing people. The known world is the best way of really describing it. They all came together in this place. Amazed and perplexed they were. So much so they said, what does it mean? Something quite significant was happening. And really, this is the turning point. Yes, resurrection has happened, and resurrection will forever be God's declaration of who Jesus Christ truly is. But it's the gift of the Holy Spirit, which emanates from the gift of Jesus Christ to the world, that makes the difference, that makes ordinary disciples be empowered to go out and do whatever they can. As Rochelle's story tells us, everybody can make a difference, but all of us who do make a difference know the only reason we make that difference is because God himself empowers us to do it. That's true about Wesley Mission in all our work. There's lots of things we do. We don't do it for applause, nor do we do it believing that somehow that there's something amazing about what we are. We do it because we believe somehow that God the Holy Spirit is with us. Now, the second chapter of Acts has this really amazing sermon of Peter. I think it's great. Peter stands up, you know, and all the disciples stand with us. He's our man giving that first sermon, if you like. And at the end of the sermon, we're given an insight and picture into what things were like in the life of the early church. We're told what they did. They devoted themselves to teaching and fellowship. But here's the verse that I want to draw your attention to. We're told that they broke bread in their homes and they ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added daily to their number those who were being saved. So it became a natural thing. It wasn't just a once forever moment. It became a continual experience. Pentecost is for all time, and Pentecost is for all of us. This gift of the Holy Spirit is for me and it's for you to receive afresh, and in doing so be given the power to go into all the world, to preach the gospel, to reach out and to be a growing people. So the extension of Acts 2 is true for us today. The Lord is adding daily to those who are being saved. What an amazing Pentecost story that is.